Maybe
Okay.
you're starting to. I can hear you, but you're like doing the thing where you robot in and out. So I think maybe your internet's exploding. Oh, there you are.
Yeah, it might be. I see it trying to struggle. Okay, Twitch is not back yet. YouTube should
It's
be
back.
back.
No, it's back. I see you. I see you on Twitch.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah, it probably is just an internet flub. So.
But yeah, no.
That's what it is.
I was gonna say like, yeah, I'm just gonna knock out. I'm down to show you any other versions.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'll help you set up Playcast.
Yeah.
And we could probably do that this week. Just hit me up sometime this week. I'm always down to play CVS2. Like, obviously, I'm not gonna play CVS2 to beat you up with. I'll play CVS2 to like show you Iori stuff, so that you can know more about Iori and what he does and shit.
Yeah,
like that.
absolutely. Yeah, that sounds good.
Might also help to look at Parry, actually, if you're trying to get some more ideas. But CVS2 Parry is it feels incomplete. So
I've noticed that. Yeah, I thought it was a little strange, so I kind of didn't really take much credence off of that version.
All right, man.
But yeah, don't me keep you.
Yeah, you've been streaming for 4 hours and 20 minutes. 420. Let's go.
Yeah, I guess I'm done for today then. I did my time. We're good. So
right,
yeah,
thanks
again for stopping by. So have a good one.
Yeah, thank you very much for having me. Have a good night, everybody.
See ya.
Peace.
All right, so that turned out to be a great stream. I learned a lot. And the game is in shambles, so I couldn't have done much anyway. So that worked out alright. Yeah, so that's pretty much it, I guess, for today. That's a good place to end her off on. We'll be back next Monday with more stuff. Hopefully the game will be compilable by that time. I didn't do anything this last week. It was just kind of a rest and don't work on anything. KOF OST AST. But you want to hear more of that? I don't know if I have that many. Let's see. Yeah, here's the one that's currently playing is it's really low on my headset, so I didn't hear what one was playing. But yeah, this one's definitely from 03. People don't normally play 03 AST. I like the arranged versions for most KOFs. I think not that I dislike the Neo Geo sound, but the arranged tracks are usually so good that I don't feel a reason to queue up any of the normal ones. I feel like I wish 2002 had an arranged soundtrack, although I mean most of the songs are returning, but I really don't like the way that 2002 sounds. I'm not talking about UM, I mean the original version. Obviously they have a 2002 UM arranged soundtrack, but those ones feel a little overblown in some ways. You're the number one 2002 hater. It's alright. It's not my favorite for sure in all aspects. Number one is hard for me to play because I'm really bad at it, but I feel like, I don't know, for me, being relatively unknowledgeable about it, I think 98 is my favorite. It just seems to have the feel that I would rather play in. Like a little less custom combo touch of death bullshit and a bit more bipping and dipping. I like bipping and dipping. But that's just me. That's my Street Fighter monkey brain talking there. And that's kind of where the combo philosophy Black Fighter EX came out. Like, I want you to be able to do some stuff, but I don't want it to be like KOF 13. If that makes sense. Yeah, 99 arranged soundtrack, really good. I don't know if I have too much here. I might have the Iori's theme in this one. This is more of like a chill playlist. But I definitely have Tears on the other playlist. It's good shit. But yeah, anyway. So yeah, thanks again, nothingxs, for popping in. This was the Iori boot camp that I needed. It's got my brain going for sure on stuff to do here. So now that I kind of understand a bit better what's going on. Oh man, I gotta program a command grab now. Oh my god, can you imagine? I actually only programmed normal grabs because nobody has command grab yet. I'm gonna have to figure out how that's gonna work in terms of stuff. I think I have to redo the way the grabs work because eventually we're gonna have air grabs. Like Chun will have an air grab, but all the air attacks don't have grab boxes anymore. If I could, can we jump here? Okay. So if you notice, the green color on Ryu's arm is different than the green color on Ryu's body for his hurt box. And the more lime yellow green means that you can't grab it. So you can't grab the arm, but you can grab the body, essentially. Anything to keep from making a grappler. Yeah. But I used that for the jumping attacks and all the jumping moves, so I'll probably have to rethink that because Chun will have to be able to grab you out of the air. I might have to make it a logic check so that it's like, is character in air? Okay, well this one doesn't grab in air. You can only grab on the ground. And vice versa too, because Chun needs to not be able to grab grounded characters with an air grab. I mean, you could somewhat enforce that with with just making the grab box not low enough to hit people, but there's always that kind of... There's always the potential for it to get screwed up, right? So I gotta really think about that. I'll have to redo how that works. That's not a huge change. But along with that, I'm gonna have to make a differentiation between how command grabs and normal grabs work. Because right now, the blue box, it's kind of hard to see in this background, so let me change it. The blue box is the grab box. And that, let's go here. Should stand out from the red background pretty well. So see the blue box that shows up there just for a split second? That's the grab box. And if you grab a deep green box with a blue box, then that's a grab. And that's just how that works. But there's some conditions, like you can't, let's see. See, I couldn't grab him because he was still in hit stun. Stop hitting me. Oh no. See, I couldn't grab him because he was still in hit stun. So there is some logic to it behind the scenes. By logic, I mean programming logic of, you know, there's certain conditions when you can and cannot actually activate a grab. So I'll have to expand that out and make a second class of grabs, which is command grabs, and we'll see how that handles. So we'll see. I don't know. I was gonna say I don't look forward to it because I know it's gonna be a lot of work to kind of fix that up, but it'll have to be done anyway. So, because whenever a grappler comes in, then we'll have it all set and ready to go, and we can just throw it in there. So Iori kind of like he's got so many abilities outside of air grab. He's basically got a version of everything. He's got, you know, canceling super into super. He's got special like target combo windows. He's got all this stuff. He's got the command grab. He's got the fucking the taco. He's also gonna have, well, I think it would be good to have him have the backdash taco, because it's obvious that even if it originally started as a glitch, I think that they keep putting it in for a reason. So maybe we should put it in, you know what I mean? I'm not sure if it's something that we should fix as opposed to embrace. I'll think more about it. I won't say 100% sure that it'll be there, but I wouldn't want to necessarily take it away, if that makes sense. Just part of me doesn't feel that that's right to do that. But then that kind of brings into question whether or not, okay, does that mean Kyo gets it? Well, what about Ryu? How does Ryu do it? Can Ryu do it? Or is only Kyo, only the SNK characters can do it? I don't know. Or only certain characters can do it? There's a lot of questions there. I think at least in Iori's case, it would be fine to do that. And then if you know, if it's way too effective, we can just nerf it a little bit. Okay, we got a question in chat. Hot Shot QQ. Hello, do you have a video discussing how you programmed the input command system? Not many tutorials on that. I don't know. I know I've talked about it here or there, but I'm not sure how much in depth that I've gone into it. I think if I can summarize it really effectively here. Well, give me a second. Let me think for a moment. I don't do it like most people do it. At least talking to other fighting game developers, it sounds like I don't do it the way people usually do it. Okay, first question, Hot Shot. Hey, who's that? Oh, it's Hot Shot. Thank you. Thank you for the follow. First question, are you a programmer? Do you have programming experience? And so do you know like what an array is versus a list? Or an array versus a vector? I guess another question would be like, what language have you been using if you are a programmer? Because that'll give me kind of like, then I can change my vocabulary here to kind of more suit the situation that you're in. C# and Unity. Oh, thank God. Okay, that's what I'm using. So, okay, this will make the conversation a lot smoother then. Okay, do you understand the difference between an array and a list? Man, I love this trick. Not really? Okay. You know the concept of what an array is, at least. Or a list, or whichever one that you've used. Okay, yes, array and lists are like containers where you put things in, correct? Yeah, pretty much. So the difference between a list and array is that a list is an expandable array. So a list you can keep adding stuff. You can .add and then you shove in another entry and it can make more and more and more and more, and you can remove some and you can clear it and start over. And an array is a predefined collection of objects where it's like, okay, this is an array of 10 objects. That's it. You cannot add to it. You cannot remove from it. There are always 10. You can change which ones are in there and alter the information for those objects, but there's always 10. So we're going to use a list because it makes a little more sense with a list. So your basic concept of what you want to do with input reading, the basic structure of it is you have a list of what were the buttons and directions being pressed at that moment, and you put that information into the list, and we call this an input state. In every frame, typically, we want to put a new input state into our list. So what ends up happening is we start compiling this long list of all the buttons and directions that were pressed as the game is being played. We have a sort of a historical record of what's there. And the basic idea is we want to search through that historical record for the input pattern that we want to use. So we say the Hadoken, we got to look for a down input, then a down forward input, then a forward input, and then a punch input. That's the basic idea of how to do that. You add the input states as they come in, as the game is being played. And whenever you need to check for a special move, you check through that list, starting with the newest to the oldest, and then go through. Now, that's the basic idea. HUD SP third, Thirth? 3TH? Thirth. What's up? Welcome. That's the basic idea of what you're trying to do. Thirst strike. Yeah, have a good one. See you later. That's the basic idea of what you want to do. Now, you do have to eventually start removing objects out of your list. So, once an input reaches a certain age, let's say, so say you hold inputs for 2 seconds. So a button that you press, you can detect that that button was pressed within 2 seconds. And then once that input reaches the age of 2 seconds, you remove it out. So every frame, you're inserting your new, freshly created input state, and then you check to see if any input states on the back end have expired, and we remove them. And then at that point, you can start looking through it to see if your inputs have triggered anything. So does that make sense so far? That's really the basic idea of how to do that. Now, you can get really fancy with it from that point, but that's really the core of it. All games that are fighting games will have at least that. So mine goes a little bit above and beyond. And if this sounds too advanced, just disregard. If this doesn't make sense to you, disregard this segment. But I put a timestamp of game time when the input was generated, and I use that to do my input searching. So I say the Hadouken can only be activated within the last 9 frames, but we have an input history length of 2 seconds. We don't want to do that. We don't want to look through the entire 2 seconds. It'd be like way too lenient. So you only look in the last 9 frames. So you calculate the time between where your current frame is and the game time, the game's internal clock of when 9 frames away is. And you say, okay, everything in that range of time will allow it. But once you're searching farther than that, then you would say, no, we're not gonna look any farther for that input. And I also designate, because so let me qualify why that's important. A lot of developers will do it by strict frames. They'll say, okay, we've got to go back in time 9 frames, which means we're only going to count back 9 input states. I'm not going to look at the timer associated with them. We're going to just say every time we insert an input state is a frame, and then we're just going to look back 9 elements in the array or the list or whatever it is. I don't do that. There's some complicated reasons why, but I think it also just makes a little more sense to do it by time. I would encourage you to do that, because in the GGPO community, there's been a lot of discussion about mid-frame inputs and about how to get online play to be a little more responsive. So if someone hits a button, releases a button in 1 frame, a lot of games will just not read that. It will not see that input, because it would only capture it once every frame, so once every 60th of a second. So the topics on the GGPO Discord were kind of like, what about games that run at 120? Or what if you hit the button so fast, and it is humanly possible to do so, that it doesn't register in 1/60th of a second? How do you handle that? So the reason why I would suggest thinking about doing time stamping on your inputs as opposed to just only going back so many entries in the list is that if you could potentially capture inputs at 120 frames per second instead of 60 frames per second, you could potentially put in multiple input states into your list that cover the time frame between, let's say, between frame 100 and 101. You could have multiple input states in your list that have a timestamp that allow them to exist inside that time. You won't be able to, well, you'd be less likely to miss an input that way. That's been a big thing that we've talked about in the community for a while on how to like do that. There's various ways to pull off reading inputs at higher rates of speed. There's also things like event polling and stuff. I won't get into that. That's really getting into the weeds. But if that's interesting to you, you want to look that up. So I think it's input events. You can tell. So for example, you can tell Windows to let you know when a mouse button was pressed, as opposed to just reading the mouse state at a certain time. That's what we call an input event. So if you want to go that route, you can look at that. So you can look something up related to that. I don't know too much about it. I don't use that method, but I know it does exist. There's various ways to accomplish that. So that's getting into the weeds. A lot of tutorials won't go that deep into it or introduce that concept. So I think especially for fighting games, it's something you want to really think about. For action games that have very lenient inputs, it's not a big deal. But especially if you're thinking about like online play, like GGPO stuff, and like capturing like split second, like fraction of a 60th frame, inputs, that's something you might want to look into. I currently do not have anything that does that, but I've been thinking about it for a very long time, and if I can find a good solution for Unity to do that, I might do that. Here's the thing, Unity does not like to do things that's not on Unity's time. So if you try to poll and force it to poll inputs when, say, it's like rendering or outside of its thread, it will have a fit. It will not like that at all. It will throw errors, it will get angry, and it'll just refuse to do it. That's where I am right now. The programming that I've got going on, I can't pull inputs outside of Unity's main thread. And that means that I can only pull inputs when Unity wants to update. So if Unity is updating at 60 frames per second, I can't just stop in the middle of the frame and be like, alright, we need new inputs, let's get more inputs, and do that. It just won't work that way. So that's a very technical thing to pull off. If you make your own input drivers and your own input system, you could pull that off. Definitely not a novice thing to do though. So you'll have to kind of work with what you got. Okay, let me think. What else is there to consider here? Alright. And close that segment, and let's start a new topic related to it. When you input leniency, so games like Street Fighter V, you might hear like, oh, there's input leniency. There's, you can detect a normal, like within 3-frame window of what it's of the timing, things like that. Hey Teach, what's up? My notification bell was off for some reason. Uh-oh. YouTube forgot. Look, YouTube's pretty forgetful. Sometimes you have to check up on that because it'll just forget about channels and stuff. So I'm not surprised to hear that. But welcome back. I'm glad that you're here and that you noticed. So when we'll talk about input leniency for things like that, really all this means is we're looking for the input early. So what it means, it doesn't widen the window for you to press the input, it just says on both ends. So if you press one button on frame 10 and you have to press the next button on frame 25, when we say there's 3 frames of leniency, we mean before and only before that button. So we would say 3 frames of leniency on frame 25's button press will include frame 25, 24, and 23. So you can press it in any one of those 3 frames and it will activate. That's what it means to have input leniency in a fighting game. It doesn't mean frame 25, 26, 27, or frame 24, 25, 26. Specifically frame 23, 24, 25. It's always before. You can press it early, but you can't press it late. That's typically what we mean by button leniency. Now, you can make windows of opportunity where buttons will still work after the fact, but that has more to do with your frame data than your input buffer. So for Pocket Fighter EX, all the normals have 3 frame leniency. I can press them up to 3 frames. So if I link these here instead of, hold on, screwing it up. Okay, this feels laggy, hold on. Okay, maybe that's why I was screwing it up. Anyway, so if I link these two, I have 5 frames in between to, yeah, this controller is dying or something, hold on. I was having a problem with it yesterday too. This damn Switch controller. Okay, how about now? Okay, we'll use the stick, it's better. There we go. So if I link these, I have 5 frames. The frame data says I have 5 frames from the end of the first jab to get the second one in. But I also have 3 frames of input leniency. That really makes the window of opportunity 8 frames. I can press it up to 3 frames early, and then up to 5 frames late. That's how frame data and button leniency combine to create bigger windows of opportunity. Okay, chat says, okay, so you press it early and it comes out at the earliest possible moment. Yeah. Your parallaxing is amazing. Well, thank you. Getting this parallax to look right was a nightmare. This stage was awful to program. We spent like the whole night trying to figure it out. It was terrible. But yeah, so if you press it early, it stores it in the history for it, and you can look in up to 3 frames into the past to see if you press that button. If that makes sense, right? So at the moment, basically at the moment that the move can be activated, it will attempt to search for it. And it will see, did I press the button this frame, the frame before it, or the frame before that? And if I did, then the move will come out. And if I didn't, then it doesn't. Yeah, we're talking about input buffers. That's how these work. So you can press it up to 3 frames early, and then once the game starts looking to activate moves again, when the character is able to execute a new move, then it'll start looking up to 3 frames in the past worth of time, and to see if you press that button. That's how the leniency works. And then the frame data is the other side of the leniency coin, where I can press, I'm +5 after a hit on the jab. So I can press it within that 5 frame window after the fact as well. But that's to make sure you understand the difference between frame data, which is how plus or minus the moves are, versus the input leniency. They're related, but they're not the same thing. Is the 3 frame latency universal for all moves? For normal moves, yeah. I programmed it to be that way. So same thing with the heavy punch and the heavy kick and the crouching and shit. They've all got 3 frames. But the specials have 9 frames of leniency. And the reason for that is because it gives you more leniency. So like when you do a cancel, you hit this and then you input the command. It gives you a little more leniency to get that cancel to work. Otherwise, you'd have to hit it with extremely accurate timing. So this one has 9 frames. All special moves have 9 frames. What if you press 3 different buttons on each of those 3 frames? Does it take the first input or the last? So typically how I solve this problem is I call it input priority. Every single move that the character has an order in which it can activate in. The higher priority moves are things like supers. And the lower priority moves are the things like just normals. So the reason for this, if you have a down forward punch, normal Hadouken comes out. If you have a double down forward punch, a super Hadouken comes out. If you looked for the Hadouken input before the super Hadouken, you would never be able to do the super Hadouken, ever. It would always take that down forward punch and say, oh, that's a normal Hadouken. Okay, make him do that. And you'd never be able to actually do a super. So you have to think very specifically about input overlaps. And you have to check the ones that would be the most interrupted first. So in this example, you have to make sure Super Hadouken is checked before Special Hadouken. Because otherwise, like I said, if you have Special Hadouken first, you will never be able to activate the Super Hadouken. Because that single down forward punch would overwrite the double. You would never be able to have time to read the double before it found the other one. It would always find the special one contained within inside that double down forward punch. That's also why you can do this. I know that looked broken. This build's a little wacky. You have to forgive it. So what's happening is I press down forward punch, down forward punch. I do it twice. And it finds that first down forward punch, and then I can cancel into the super because it will find that as a part of the other one. If that makes sense. Like, your history doesn't go away once you actually find a special move and activate it, your history doesn't go away. So that first down forward punch then can be built upon into the next down forward punch, and then you got a double down forward punch when you put all that together, and now that's your super input. So they kind of input stack on each other that way. But if they're not in the correct order, you won't be able to do them right. So in this case, you want to make sure that things are structured properly. Typically supers go first, specials go second, command normals go third, and normal attacks go fourth. That's the basic hierarchy that you want to go with. So if it finds a super first, it will take that and it will ignore everything below it. If it finds a special, it'll take that and ignore everything below it. And that's why a down forward punch never comes out as a jab. Because it will always take the Hadouken before it will take the punch. I call that a priority stack on the inputs. I can't show it, I think. I don't know. Can I show it? Inspectors here. I might be able to show what I got. The build right now is not compiling, so it's a little finicky. But let me see if I can... let me see if it will show the data. Because right now Unity's in safe mode, so it may not want to do that. Let's see. Fighters. Let's go look at Ryu. We'll go to command moves. Oh, no, it won't let me look at it. I'm sorry. Until I fix it, it won't let me look at it. But you'd be able to see what order they're set in. You only have to come back next week for that one. Actually see that. I've shown it in previous episodes, but I couldn't tell you which one I've actually shown it in. So it's a little difficult to say. I can show you exactly what I do, because 2 button presses have to go before 1 button presses. So a Hadouken and an EX Hadouken, you have to look for the EX first. And then, because otherwise the normal Hadouken would always overtake the double button press. And there's ways to do double button presses, that's a whole other topic. But in my case, I'm using the Kara cancel style of double inputs. So you probably want to read up about what Kara canceling is and how it works. But the very basic idea, it's really hard to see here. You might not even be able to see it with the naked eye. But the light punch frame, or the light punch move will start if you press the light punch first. So if I press these on different frames, you see in the input log I press light punch first, heavy punch second. but the grab did come out. What's happening is the light punch is starting up, and then when it detects that I pressed the second button after the light punch started up within a certain range, then it will instead transition to the grab animation. And that's what's known as a car cancel, or aka an empty cancel. The attack didn't hit. You didn't hit the punch, but it went and it changed the animation anyway. You could do stuff with EX attacks that way too. So notice that I'm pressing them on different frames, but it's still working. If you press them too late, then you don't get it. You gotta press them with a certain window. See, I got them on 2 different frames there and I took it. So that's how that works. It's a very detailed topic. I would go and look up how Third Strike does it as a good example. There's a lot of resources out there that can explain how that works on the inside. So let's see, from chat, how's Iori coming? I can't wait to get my hands on him. Yes! This entire episode until you came in was all about Iori. We had nothingxs on, and he was going through all the gameplay and ideas for Iori. For like, how do you play him in this game? How do you play him in that game? How do some of the combos work? How do some of the frame traps work? Check out the VOD when you're done, or you can rewind it in real time, I think, too. And so we had him on and he went through the whole gambit. So I learned a lot about Iori and about KOF in general, and that was a really good time. So you definitely want to check that out. Well, it's been a very special episode for that segment. So yeah, the input stuff. That's kind of it. I mean, you can get super fancy with it and how exactly you want to detect things and how lenient you want your patterns to be and how to build your patterns and maintain your input log and stuff. Everybody's got their own opinion on how to do that kind of stuff. But at least conceptually, that's really what you're dealing with. So hopefully that stuff makes sense. So, Hotshot, the YouTube channel, Game Dev Scrubs on YouTube, the VODs go up there too forever. So if you need to keep this video on hand, that's where I would go. Twitch will only keep them for so long. But I also simul stream to YouTube, so you can find like the forever link there. As long as YouTube doesn't take the video down, then I'm not taking it down. So if you want to keep this reference for later, that would be the place to go. Because I see that you're on Twitch there. So that's on YouTube. Just look for Game Dev Scrubs. You'll find it. And then yeah, you can keep the video there. I mean, that covers the basic idea of it and how it applies to specifically fighting games. And how some of the current games have done what they've done. Yeah, it came from YouTube actually. Your channel doesn't link to your Twitch. I had to Google it. It doesn't? I thought I set that up. Hold on. Hold up. Let me investigate. Maybe they don't let you have a Twitch link anymore. Where's my window? Hold on. You're right, it doesn't. Wait, does it? Oh no, it's just Discord. I thought I had it up here on the little bar, but I guess not, unless they removed it. Twitch is a competitor. I don't know. I'll see about adding it back up here. I thought for sure it was there. Well, either way. It should be telling you on the bottom left corner of the screen, though. Should have a link to it. I mean, you have to type it in, but still. Anyway. Point is, it'll always be there if you want to reference this video from this point on. But yeah, the big deal is just making sure that you're searching through the inputs in the right order Always make sure to search the most complex inputs that are likely to get overlapped by other moves in the move list first, and then work your way down to the most simple inputs that are just single button presses. That's what I would do. And the simple button presses are actually just a part of the same system. I don't have any different code that handles simple button presses. It never reads specifically, light punch? Okay, you got to do the light punch when you're standing. Like, it doesn't do that. They're all specifically in that list. The entire move list is in that list. And it will look for the single button the same way it'll look for the crouched button or the Hadouken. It's all part of the same system. I find it much easier to manage that way. Some games don't do that. Some games are like, oh, look for a complex move, and if we don't find a complex move, and then check for buttons. So just keep that in mind. The other thing, this is more of a design element, but I figure I might as well mention it anyway. What button goes first? If you press, and this is a little tough because grab is both punches, but if grab wasn't both punches, what button would come out if you press them on the same frame? It's kind of a preference. So Street Fighter, the heavy button always comes out over the light button. And so I adopted that. And the only way that I enforce that, you don't need special code to do that. You just make sure that in your list, the same list that has the supers first, the special second, etc. Make sure to structure your list so that it's punches first, kicks second, and heavies first, light second. So the code, I would structure my input list so that heavy punch, the order would be heavy punch, heavy kick, light punch, light kick for the normals. That would be the priority. Heavy punch, if you press all four, assuming it didn't do something like, this activates max mode, but assuming it didn't do that and I disabled that, if I pressed all four, then heavy punch would come out. Only heavy punch would come out. So that's how I do it. Heavies first and punches first. So heavy punch first, heavy kick second, light punch first, light punch second. And then from there, you just have to make sure to structure everything. Put everything in an order that you can both actually do it. So like holding down and punch does crouching. But if you don't check that before you check standing punch, you'll always standing punch. Things like that. You'll definitely run into it. You'll put something in the wrong order and be like, why doesn't it work? And then you'll find out. And I know it's happened to me a few times already. That would be the biggest fighting game specific thing that you gotta really keep in mind. And so designing your character, you have to keep that in mind as well. What kind of input overlaps might exist that might make it impossible to do certain moves or harder to do certain moves. I think that Capcom in general is really good about doing move lists that make sense. I think they try very hard to make sure that the directions that you're doing things in match up with the things that you would want to actually do with the character. So, for example, we've got our crouching medium kick, right? Which in this game is a command normal, because we only have 4 buttons, and I got 2 kick buttons, so I'm holding down back to get that. But in a Street Fighter game, you could do that in any direction. But here's the thing. What do you usually do with Ryu when you're at range? You want to do this. So in this particular case, I make the command normal holding down back, because the thing that you're most likely to do off of this move is a Hadouken. So you naturally progress from down back to a quarter circle forward in one motion. So you got to think of things like that when you're designing your character's moves lists. That what are commonly attacks that are going to be strung together. Make sure your input makes sense. If I had to hold down forward to get my crouching medium kick, that wouldn't work, because I'd have to hit down forward kick and then go back to down and then down forward. You'd have to have this weird thing where you're going back and forth with the joystick in order to just get a simple move to come out. Unfortunately, there are some KOF characters that do have complicated shit like that. That's not very intuitive. Or that the moves that are supposed to work together don't actually work with everything necessarily. So this one's not too bad. Because I start at the forward position, I go down, all I gotta do is hit down back, and then back to forward again to get my Shoryuken. So the forward, down, forward Shoryuken, you just put a kick in there, and then you get that. Things like that. Yeah, well, I'm framing this in the way that, like, it's specific to my game that I have to hold the down back. But I'm saying, like, if you're holding down forward for command normal, if you had to do it that way. But if you do it during your motion, that's fine. That's fine. So what Daigo probably does is he starts at down, does down forward, then does his medium kick, and then does the full motion. Then he goes up to forward and cancels it. That's just not possible in this game because we're using it as a command normal. But that's a different scenario. That would be like, well, actually a good would be like this. The crouching fierce. That's what Daigo's talking about. So what happens is I'm holding down, then down forward, I hit the button, then forward and hit the button again. And then you end up with that. I think that's what he's talking about. You take the input and you put it inside the input for the other thing. So you start it down forward, the diagonal down forward, and the punch, and then forward and punch. Get you this. I think that's what he's talking about with that. You're gonna slip it in. That pretty much sums up my experience with BlazBlue. Some characters have non-intuitive stuff. Yeah, and SNK kind of is a little fast and loose with that too. I noticed this problem with Parry a lot. Capcom's also less likely to give you a down forward with two different buttons. So Ryu has a down forward punch, but he doesn't have a down forward kick. He's got a half circle kick, but he doesn't have a down forward kick. So you're less likely to mix those up. Ryu has a down back punch or down back kick, but he does not have a down back punch. Capcom likes to do stuff like that, and it may not sound like a big deal, but it does make the game more intuitive for sure. SNK characters don't do that. They don't do that for sure. They just don't care. They'll put... Some games will put a down forward. Like with supers, right? They'll put it... Because obviously you got the Shoryu command, which is a forward down forward, and you got the Hadouken, which is a down forward. And you have those, and those are fine for specials. But some games will put supers on both those commands. So it'll be like a down to forward, and then a Shoryuken command. And then they'll... Not in too many games to do it, but you don't see it often because it doesn't work right. A double down forward will just get you, your Chinku, whatever. But imagine Shin Shoryuken's double down forward kick, right? But it doesn't make sense. Why'd they put it on kick? Because it's insane to do a down forward and then a Shoryu motion and not accidentally slip and do a double down forward. So Capcom's really smart with that. So they put Shin Shoryuken on kick instead. So it's double down forward kick. You'll never mix those up. That double down forward kick is Shoryu, and double down forward punch is Hado. So a lot of reuse normals that are cancelable can be used in the middle of a command for something else. You notice I'm doing a half circle kick, but at the bottom of my half circle, I'm doing my crouching heavy punch. So there's stuff like that. UMK3, hello, what's up? I think that's more specifically what Daigo's talking about, is building your inputs inside of other inputs. I don't do this and then this. I do it in one go. So you could do the crouching and then with devilish speed be able to man, well, that'd be real tough because it hits on frame 3. You could technically get that. There. You could technically do that. See? I got the down heavy punch, and then I did the full donkey kick. You could do it, but it's better to do the back, the down, and then when you get the diagonal down, back down, and then when you get to down, press the button for your heavy punch, and then diagonal forward, and then forward and kick. There we go. Ah! I'm having trouble with it. You know, you saw me do it 100 times. You get the idea. Greetings from Argentina. Well, hey. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Let's see. Argentina, that's on the west side of South America, right? If I recall correctly. What a beautiful game you're creating. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. So that's something to keep in mind when you're designing. This is not necessarily the code for the input system. When you're designing characters, you want to make sure that things flow in the way that best facilitates that kind of stuff. How do you do negative edge? I will preface this segment with, I'm not sure if I'm doing it correctly. And when I play the old games, they don't feel the way that I do. They don't feel the same way as my game feels. This may not be correct. However, when I built my input state system, I had the ability to detect whether the button was pressed or released. So there's 4 button states that you want to have. So Programmer's Notepad, let's bring it up. There are 4 button states. Just pressed, held, just released, and up. So just press means that last frame was not down, this frame is down. Or let's just say last frame was up. That's how you detect the press. So the moment that the button goes down, but you don't want it to happen every frame that it's held down, that's it. You tell if something held is it down this frame? You don't have to check anything else. And just release is the opposite. So last frame was down, this frame is up. And then here you just check, is it up this frame? Those are the 4 button states. So when I do negative edge, I just check for this, whether it was released or not. So typically I do the just pressed, which was, it was just pressed that frame. But when you do negative edge, you want to do the reverse. You want to check if the button was held down, but it has been released on this frame. And that will give you your negative edge. That's all I did, and mine was change that. That should be fine. That should be normal. I don't expect that to be wrong. However, I don't know if the input window for a negative edge is exactly the same as an input window for a press. That's where my game doesn't feel right. Something about it feels maybe too lenient or something. I haven't quite done the research to figure out why it doesn't feel right. So I don't know. That's the part I'm not sure about. I don't know if maybe the input window is different. I don't know if maybe there's some sort of like delay or priority. Maybe it checks after you release a button. Maybe it checks for a few frames to make sure you haven't pressed another one. It doesn't feel quite right in my game. But at the very basic, this is what you're dealing with. It's just the inversion of being pressed is being released. You just check it in the opposite logic. So when I search through the input history, that's what I do. I look for both. So if it was pressed down, cool. We get that version. But then it will check also if the button was released. And both of them will trigger the thing. Let's see, who was that? Fighters ARG. Well, thank you for that follow. Let's see. It looks very good. Does this game have online mode? I am currently working on online mode. I'm currently working on rollback netcode for this. It's getting there. We're in the final stretch, but it's still going to take a little while to finish up. So not currently, but it will. It will be there. Let's see. Let me get a link to current build. Where the hell's my chat window? Here it is. So here's a link to where the game is currently. That's the latest public build. That one doesn't have online yet, but the next update will have online. Just not really sure when that's going to drop. I still got a lot of work to do on that one yet. Let's see. UMK3 says, I'm part of a Twitch group from Argentina, which is dedicated to playing any type of fighting game. And if the game is online, it will possibly be tested live. Yeah, we don't have the online just yet, though. But we'll get there. It takes a lot of work, and I'm the only programmer on this, so I'm deep in it. I'm deep in it. We've been trying to get online working for a while. It's just a lot of work. So it'll come in though. But go ahead, if you have a GameJolt account, if you feel like making an account, and follow the game there, and you'll get a notification when the update hits. And you can start playing the local version now if you want. Just remember, there's no online. And you could use Parsec, but well, Parsec doesn't work for everybody. We'll put it that way. Not my preferred way to play for sure. But yeah, so Hotshot, do you have any other questions about input stuff? It seems like a simple thing, but it's a pretty big subject, to be honest. Not at the moment? Okay. So hopefully that gets you an idea of how to get going with it. It's definitely not an easy thing to set up. You know, if you want to do like a fighting game thing. The basic structure is pretty simple. Just insert, insert input states into the list and read them. That's the basic idea, and that's not too difficult. But once you get into like, well, now we need to know that there's a 3-frame window that we can search this on and all that, then it gets a little more complicated. I say just take it slow. Build one thing at a time. Build it without the input windows. Just build the strict, just being able to detect a pattern. And then you can put constraints on it and say, oh, only for a certain amount of time. And then just keep adding features until it feels right to you. There's a lot of overlap between the gameplay feel and things like how much like hit stop happens. Like this here. This move is really easy to do. These are easy to do because you start with the button that you want and then you cancel into the thing. Or the motion already facilitates the button. And also notice it's the same button. That's the other thing. A lot of Ryu's moves are on the same button. This is, you just start from a crouching punch, and then you really just hit punch twice while you're pushing down to forward, and it just works. Or you just do forward, holding forward, and then hit the button twice while you're doing a down, going down and coming back up. Street Fighter has a lot of that intuitive design when you're doing stuff. And that makes it easier for people to play. Like this. All of this is the same button. It's all one button. And it's all one movement. Is this game similar to Pocket Rumble? Probably not. We don't use life bar units and all that. This game's more similar to the official Neo Geo Pocket Color games that they had. They had a SNK vs. Capcom Neo Geo Pocket Color game. That's more where the inspiration lies from here. It just got other new features and stuff, so. Jitspo? Hello, yeah, this is my project. Pocket Fighter EX. Here, let me put the link in there again. Where are we? There. There's a link to the current version of the game that's out. If you want to check it out yourself. But notice that all this comes from one button. Most of Ryu's moves are consolidated into one kind of flow. It's a down forward, and it's a punch. So, hold on, let me stop blocking. I'm trying to get the super here, but it's not coming out. There we go. So it's the same thing. So when you're designing your characters, think about that. Capcom's really good about putting buttons on the same button, because it makes Ryu easy to use. I only have to worry about one button to do like a lot of his moves. I could literally jump in with that and then just do it. All that, one button. You just gotta keep hitting it. And it's lenient enough that you can just kind of mash it for the most part. But that makes it pretty intuitive for the average casual player. Like, obviously a pro player can deal with almost any input situation, but that's not everybody that's going to be playing your game. I think that's why Street Fighter has so much casual appeal as opposed to like KOF, because they try to create some kind of flow with the button inputs. Anybody can go up and mash a down forward and get a DP, or and get a crouching fierce into a DP. Like, almost anybody can do that, no matter what their skill level is. Or they want to mash out a super, they can do that. They just do it. It's the same button, right? It all kind of works together. Whoa, holy shit. Wait, a rating party of 249? What the hell happened? Let's see, from Jitspo. Holy crap, Jitspo. Well, thank you. That's crazy. That's definitely far and away the biggest raid I've ever had. Sharing the game dev love. Well, you sure are. Holy crap. Very, very much. Thank you very much. That's incredible. Yeah, we work on this. Or, well, I work on this. This is Pocket Fighter EX. Here's the link again. If you want to follow the game or download the current version. It's on Game Jolt. So there's the link for that. We're working on rollback netcode. Or, well, I'm working on rollback netcode. I'm the only one that programs it, so. I'm the project leader, designer, art director, the whole thing. I get some help with pixel art and stuff, but I'm the only programmer and designer on it. You don't have to buy it, it's free. It's just a fan game. I couldn't sell it even if I wanted to, and I don't. So Capcom doesn't take me down. It's gonna be free forever. Rollback stuff, fun for certain values of fun. It's pretty much necessary for a fighter. I feel like if I don't put rollback netcode in it, most people are not going to be able to play it anyway. And it's not going to perform good online unless you've got crazy, super godlike internet. And guess what? Most people don't have that. So, as far as I'm concerned, if it doesn't have rollback netcode, it's not going to be worth playing. So that was one of the goals. Yeah, GGPO. Yep, we're going to put GGPO in. Yeah. Especially for people, I mean, even in the United States, playing other people in the United States really sucks. But, you know, like South America has dog shit internet. They wouldn't be able to play it at all. At least with rollback netcode, there's some possibility of that even working. And there's plenty of places around the world that just, they have dog shit internet. And I want as many people to be able to play it as possible, so... I've done my share of multiplayer stuff, mostly for shooting games, though. Yeah, I've heard that, that shooting games have been implementing rollback style systems since, like, Quake, even. But it's on the server side. Like, it'll recalculate the last interactions and then try to figure out who's been hit, so... That's pretty cool. That's why I'm doing a single-player game for my indie project. Yeah, dude, multiplayer's no joke. You know then. You know for sure. Multiplayer, no joke. Yeah, rollback or nothing. Yeah, that's how I feel about it. With fighters, man, you just can't... You can't not have it now. It's just no way. If, like, certain games that have really big button timing windows and it's not very strict and you don't have to be very accurate, then you can kind of wing it, sure. But for a game like a fighting game, you just can't do without it. Such a huge project deserves it. People could buy it without a doubt. Well, it's not for sale. It's free. It's free. It's not affiliated with Capcom or SNK. It's a fan game. It's free. No payment. Don't have to worry about it. What Unity multiplayer framework do you use? Do you mean for the transmission of data from one game to the other? I did a delay-based netcode test a while back, and in it I used the old style of Unity networking, but they've since decommissioned that. They depreciated it. It's no longer in use. I don't remember what it was called, but I have not tried the new one yet. But I don't know if I'm going to use Unities at all in the long run. So I don't know. It's kind of a question mark on that one. There's a couple different options. Some people use Photon. Some people will just connect their game to Steam. I don't have that option because it's just a fan game. Or the Epic's Game Store. Same deal. And then let that handle the networking and the communication between the two different games. That seems to be a popular option because they kind of just do it for you. It'll manage the connection between the two players, and then all you have to do is receive the data that comes in through that connection, and then you do whatever you need to do with it, and it goes back and forth. But there's many options. I haven't really looked into too much about it yet because I'm not at that step. So currently, I'm working on the determinism for the game. I built an entire Unity system to be deterministic, and now I'm importing all those changes into the main project, and that's just taken a while. I think Unet is the old depreciated one. Pun 2 is Popular. Is that the Photon? And then MLAPY is the new one. Okay. Yeah, Photon. Okay. I know Matrafeed. I think that's his name. Jesus, I don't know. Hold on, let me look him up quick. He's doing a Unity fighting game, and he's using GGPO with Photon, or some form of rollback with Photon. Let me see if I can find him. Make sure we got... we were looking at hitboxes earlier. Let's see. Twitter. No, Twitter. Here. Matt, where are you? Get him here. Search. Good old Matt. There he is. Let me bring it over. So here. Yeah, it is Metrofeed. Okay. He's working on Murphite. He actually has a Kickstarter going on right now. I think it's still active. So he's got like, it actually looks pretty cool. He's got 3D models and stuff. So he's using Photon, he said. Because I was asking him about it last week, I think. He's using Photon. And I guess it also has matchmaking stuff with it too, but you have to pay for it, that's from what I understand. You have to pay for how many people are playing the game. So if you've got like 1,000 people playing the game, you pay X amount. If you got 100,000 people playing the game, then you pay more, somehow proportional to however many people are playing. So he's definitely been using that, I know for sure. Footsies is another game. So let me pull up High Fight. He's using Epic Games Store. High Fight. So High Fight, here it is. High Fight makes footsies right here. I think it's on Steam actually. So let's look it up. I think it's on Steam. Footsies. Yeah, there it is. Footsies Rollback Edition. He's got rollback netcode. He is using Steam's online infrastructure for the data transfer on the network. And I think he's also on the Epic Games Store, so he uses both. Because he was talking about implementing the Epic Games Store version. Yeah, so with Photon, is it free up to a certain point or something? I'm not really sure. I didn't look into the prices. I just knew I wasn't going to use it because I don't have money to pay for it. There's no way I could pump that kind of money into it to keep it going. I'm thinking about using I'm thinking about writing my own network code for communication between the clients. See how that goes. Combined with GameJolt's online service for like data saving and matchmaking and stuff. So GameJolt has its own API that you can use. Oh, excuse me. Dinner's coming up on me. GameJolt, where I host the game currently, they have like a friends list integration, a user profile and login integration for Unity. And other platforms too, but Unity's obviously what I'm using, so that's what I'm concerned about. So I'm planning to attempt to use that to kind of get a friends list and an invite system and stuff like that going. Well, hopefully that'll work out well. I want to try to make it generic so that if I use the engine for like a commercial project eventually, say I can use parts of, you know, this engine. Maybe I make a new fighting game, my own fighting game, or maybe maybe I make a different multiplayer game and then I can reuse those aspects for other things. I'm trying to make it as generic as possible so I could swap out GameJolt's data and say connect it to Steam easily or connect it to Epic Games Store easily. I think that would be the way to go with this. But as far as I know, Footsies is using Steam and Epic Games Store for each of those platforms. Now, I've heard you can use Epic Games Store stuff without having to have your game on the Epic Games Store. And I don't know if that's really true. Take that one with a grain of salt. I heard it's free to use, and I heard that you don't actually have to have your game available for purchase on Epic Games Store to use it, but you have to have an Epic Games Store account to log in to use it with the game, I guess. Might want to look into that. I'm not 100% sure about that. But that's definitely where my head's going right now. I'll try to use GameJolt's API. I looked at it a little bit. Seems relatively easy enough to use. And they do give you data storage on GameJolt, seemingly for free and unlimited. Now, I don't know how far you can push that before they tell you to tone it down. But if possible, I would love to save replays and have those replays available through the GameJolt servers. You know, could do stuff like that would be really amazing. I could use that data for matchmaking, maybe. I'm thinking if you could store the lobby information of active lobbies on GameJolt's data service, then, you know, a player could come in and it would just look up on all the data on GameJolt's server related to lobbies and pull that in and take a look at that. I think that would be good. So that's where I think I'm headed with the online features. But none of that matters until the game can actually play with another player. So one step at a time, right? It just takes a while. All the rollback solution in here is all my own thing. I know there are people building rollback solutions for Unity and like Godot and stuff. So there's a Discord for GGPO. I'm not sure what the link is for that, but if you look it up, I'm pretty sure you can find it on Google. Let me see. Let's see if we can find it. Google.com. GGPO Discord. What's it say? Oh, I don't know. Okay, here, you know what? Here's the tweet. Here's the tweet from Tony Cannon. Tony is one of the two Cannon brothers that came up with GGPO. So let me copy the link here. Yeah, copy link. I don't know if this is going to be a Twitter link though. Yeah, it's a Twitter link. Oh, here it is. Let me copy that. I'm going to put this in the chat. So if you're a developer and you want to know more about GGPO and you got questions for the community, that's the place to go. There's people that are working on rollback solutions for Godot. They're working on rollback solutions for Unity. They're working on GGPO ports to Unity and Godot and all that stuff. What's the other engine that people use? Oh, Game Maker. I think somebody was working on that too. So it's open source now, GGPO, so you can kind of take it and run with it. What I'm planning to do is to port it to C#, not specifically Unity, but just C# in general, and then make modifications to it as my game needs. So I've looked through the GGPO code, I've talked to the people there. It's pretty, how do I want to put it? I don't mean any disrespect by it, but the GGPO library that they put out really feels more like they built this as a proof of concept to work with an emulator. And so it's a little rough. It's really built in the context of what an emulator needs to run, and it expects things in an emulator kind of game environment. So if you're going to use it in your game, you may have to modify it to better fit the needs of your games. That's where I'm expecting to be with it. Then I'm just going to have to customize it a little bit, and then we can use it for what I want to. So if when you get to the technicals of it and you look at the code, you'll see what I mean. It's a little hard to explain in a generic sense, but it really is geared towards like getting an emulator set up with rollback as opposed to like a game that's built in. But it's not too hard to transfer that functionality and, you know, to get it working in a different environment. So I wouldn't be concerned about using GGPO, but you will have to tinker with it a little bit to get it to do what you want to do. Or another way to look at it is you could shoehorn GGPO to work with your game, but it would be in your best interest to figure out what exactly your game needs and what GGPO needs, and kind of come to a middle ground to figure out the best way to facilitate that. So you can't just drop it in. It's not like drag and drop. You just don't drag and drop it in and it just works. That kind of thing. You'll have to kind of bridge the gap between what GGPO wants to do and what you want to do. If that makes any sense. But yeah, the Discord there, that link to their server is... I'm in there too. There's definitely tons of resources in there. People are making new games to put it in. They're making, you know, platforms for you to add it into existing engines and stuff. So it's really good. All that stuff's in there. Yeah. So that's where I'm at. Currently, I'm at the point where I'm getting the game to be deterministic enough to even work with it, and the saving and loading states. So I'm probably 40% done with converting the existing game to be deterministic and to also have save states. So it's getting there. It's just a mountain of work for one person, so it's taking some time for sure. But I built all the stuff myself. So the deterministic Unity components, the saving and loading system, all done from scratch. So it's taken a while, but we're finally getting to the end game here, and I'm real excited for it. So there's that. Definitely going to be playing this. I know it's kind of a meme to like play your own game that you made, but I definitely want to play this online with other people. It's just fun. I like it. Obviously, I like it. I made it, but I think it's going to be really cool to play it online. It's fun. I like the game. Obviously, I made it, but I don't know. Anybody got any questions, I guess? That was a good question, though. How about the GGPO? That man, you can get into the weeds. I have what is it? On the YouTube channel, I have a whole rollback netcode Q&A. If that interests anybody. Let me find videos. Oh, it's far back, isn't it? Here, rollback Q&A. I did this a while ago. That was June. So here's a link to that. I answer a lot of, not necessarily basic, but like intro level rollback stuff. So I got everything time coded. You can look through all the stuff that we went over. That was a good one. I had fun with that video. You watched that one recently? Oh, okay, cool. Yeah. So anybody else out there, if they want to find out a bit more about rollback in general, I did that whole one. Sometimes I forget that I even made this. I'm trying to put the info out there. Like, I can't do it for you. I can't go into every single detail, but I hopefully it can at least give some idea of how this stuff works so that you can go ahead and start tinkering with it if you're interested. Some people are like, why don't you do a video tutorial series on how you made Pocket Fighter EX? And I'm like, because it would be like a year long. Like, I don't have time for that. There's so many details and so much stuff there, like, and I don't even know if it's like the best way to do it. Like, you're not gonna find tutorials on like how to make fighting game because it's too specific. You're gonna make it different ways depending on what you want to do with it, and it's so complicated. It would be like writing a college course on how to like make a game. Like, I don't know. I just don't have time for it. Obviously, I stream it, and I find answering questions, if I can answer them, I have time to. And it's been kind of like a devlog for me, for sure. But you're not going to get every single line of code, every single detail, you know, out of these videos. There's only so much I can do for it. You know, I mean, if you need me to build the game for you, that's a job. You know what I mean? That's an employment opportunity. That kind of thing. I don't know. If I ever took the time, like the year out of my life, to produce a video series on how to, I guess, even get the basics of a fighting game running, like, that would be something I could sell. You know what I mean? If I had to put that amount of time into it. The other thing is that if I put all that time into that, I wouldn't be able to make the game itself. I would have no time for it. I'd be editing videos all day. I don't know. You get what I mean, though, right? The devs out there, they know what I mean. It's just not enough time in a day to do what you want to do, and add like a day of video editing on top of that. It's crazy. You definitely should think about that after you finish the game. I don't know. I don't want. I don't want to spend a year of my life making a tutorial video. Oh man. That's not what I want. I find video editing very boring, to be honest. I think it's very boring. It takes so long to do. Even just basic video editing takes forever. Oh, yeah, Terry's got a problem where he gets stuck in the air. The current version that's out there doesn't have that problem, but that's a rollback netcode problem. But that'll be fixed as we go along. There's a lot of stuff that's... Oh, you want to see something funny? You want to see what rollback netcode looks like on the inside, behind the scenes? Here, take a look at this build. This is funny. I pulled this one up earlier by accident. You want to see what it looks like behind the scenes? This is what it looks like behind the scenes. It's really funny to look at. Hey, here we go. Try playing this. There we go. That's what it looks like behind the scenes. You're just seeing it represented as without any limiters on it. This is basically what rollback netcode does. It runs the game at hyperspeed in the background, and it uses that to kind of like correct for any desyncs that occur. So the whole tenet of rollback netcode is that the game is allowed to desync. And then when the inputs come in from the other player, it has to go back in time and then rapidly like update the game back to normal time. And so here's what happens if you're not actually going back in time. If it's just allowed to update multiple times a frame, it just the whole game's just hyperspeed, essentially. But your game has to be efficient to run like this. You can't have any laggy processes, otherwise you're not going to keep your 60 frames per second. I mean, you'll see the frame rate dip and stuff, but I still got some work to do. But at the basic level, I mean, it holds up pretty well. You get 60 most of the time, or at least close to it. And so, yeah, that's basically it. Behind the scenes, this is what rollback netcode is doing. It's just running the game like super hyperspeed. You just don't see it because it happens in the blink of an eye. It happens in the span of one frame. All this stuff, and it gets, it manages the timeline very accordingly. But on the back end, this is what it's doing. It's just bipping and dipping, just going ham. But it all looks normal when you get everything set up right. That's funny though. We're getting there. It's still gonna take a few months left, at least, to get there, but we're getting there. Slow but sure. Having fun with it. Right now, I'd love to show it in the editor, but right now the code's all over the place. I'm rewriting a whole section of the code, so we got errors, got lots of errors, and things don't work right. But yeah, I mean, we went all over the place today. We're checking out Iori. We're checking out the new animations we're doing for checking out effects. We had a nice chat with nothingxs. We went through the gameplay goals that Iori's supposed to have. Went through hitboxes, nasty hitboxes. No, we don't need that one anymore. Yeah, that one too. That was funny. You have to go back in the VOD to check that out. That was funny. Yeah, I mean, that's the basic idea of what we're doing here. And so, I don't know. Any questions? I feel like I'm out of topics to talk about. In general, at least. Oh, probably a good time to mention, if you want to support... I do other games too. I do a platforming game on Thursday, which, real quick, here's the quick schedule. Monday's Pocket Fighter EX stuff, but Thursday's Retro Mansion game, title pending. That's a platforming game. So if that stuff sounds good to you, you can come back on Thursday. So related specifically, or more specifically to the other game, if you feel like supporting my personal efforts in game development, I do have a Patreon like everybody else on the internet. You can get preview builds of everything that I work on, as long as there's a build available. I mean, the other game, there's not a build yet, but there will be one very soon. But even this project has preview builds up there, so if you want to see the crazy, stupid, broken in development builds, they are on offer there, including some Discord rewards, etc., etc. There's other stuff. So if you check that out, I would be very thankful. It does help because it's I do pay software licenses to do the things that I do. It really helps out with that. Helps me dedicate more time to doing this kind of stuff, so I can make all of it happen a bit quicker, which I'm sure everybody will appreciate. I think the game will be very fun. It's come a long way. I think it's got a good design philosophy behind it. I think it'll be very fun to play. Wait, no, let's do Ken. I didn't show Ken yet. We're getting more characters. Gonna have Kyo, Iori, Mai, Chun-Li, and Guile. And then if we can get through that, God willing, then we'll look at adding more stuff after. But I think it'll be very fun. That people have been trying it, they've been getting a lot of good feedback. I think it's gonna be real fun. It's just some of the crazy stuff you can do with Ken. One of the premier features of this game is the max mode cancel. Lets you keep your combos going. It's that one there. Now you can do more stuff. There's an armor version too. Gives you an alpha counter, and it gives you defensive moves. So, there's different abilities. So, in Power Max mode, Ken gets some fire kicks. In Armor Max mode, he gets an armor attack. Each character kind of gets their own little thing. So there's a lot to do with it. You got supers. All different supers, different strength supers, EX attacks, all sorts of stuff. So I think it'll be fun. It'll be kind of like a King of Fighters versus Street Fighter feeling game. And it's not gonna have multiple grooves, but it's going to try to have a unifying system so you can use that should feel good for all players or all characters. And that's also why there's different max modes here that have different abilities, so you can just kind of pop them on the fly and use them. You can do all sorts of stuff with it. I think it'll be very fun when it comes online. A lot of people looking forward to it, so I'm very happy about that. It's a 4-button fighter, so it's more like King of Fighters in that regard, if you're familiar with all that. But that's because it's based on the Neo Geo Pocket fighters. So back in the day, Neo Geo, makers of King of Fighters and Fatal Fury, where Terry Bogard comes from, if you play Smash. They made their own little Game Boy Color, basically. And they put these low-tech fighting games on them. And that's where the inspiration for most of this came from. So, and that's what the graphics look like on their console. They're very low color, like 3-color looking sprites like this. Now, this is a custom animation that we've done, but what's the last beta test that exists for this game? You know, it's at the here at this link on the Game Jolt. That's the latest public release, the latest stable release. We'll put it that way. But all the in development, broken, in progress builds, that's all on Patreon. So that's different. But they contain a lot of bugs and stuff like that. It's just so you're aware. It's not meant to be playable necessarily. But if you're curious, if I just added a feature and you're like, oh, I want to try that out, like that's what that's for. But that's a special service. It does take time out of my schedule to prepare those builds and stuff, so it's kind of one of those above and beyond kind of things. Oh, here's the data sheet. We extracted the data from the characters. Oh, I was testing shadows earlier today. We have to change the way the shadows work in game. Let's see. I do a lot of sprite work on this, but I get a lot of help too with the sprites. I could potentially do all of it, it's just I don't have the time to do all of it, you know? So, let's see. Where is Iori? We'll take a look at his. Where are we? Yeah, so the data looks like this from the game. It's only 3 colors, just like the Game Boy Color. You only had 3 colors per sprite. They didn't use multiple sprites to add more color. So we extracted all the data and we're using that to help. So a lot of the graphics come from those games, but then we add color to them and amp them up. So a good example here, I'll pull Ryu up again, but I'll pull up his original thing here. So these are the original sprites, mostly. I've got a couple edits here and there, but so if we look at Ryu, R is for Ryu. R is for Ryu, Ryu. Here we are. This is what it looks like. Excuse me. This is what it looks like in the original Pocket games that they made. And then I turned them into high color versions, or higher color versions. And before anybody asks about the green eyes, I know when someone's gonna ask, they ask every time I bring this up. The reason the eyes are green is so I don't mistake the eye color for the clothing color. Because you could if they were both white, you could very easily make that mistake, and you'd never know that you colored one of the things wrong. But once it goes in game, you can see he's colored properly in game. He doesn't have the green eye. So the game takes care of the palette options here. You'll also notice that the headband here and the gloves are separate colors. That's because some palettes for Ryu actually have different colors for them, but not all of them. So they're both red here, but if I choose Ryu and do that, see, now the headband's yellow and the gloves are brown. But these ones are different here. It's like that. Oh, I have the original colors there too. If you wanted to play with the original color set, they're there. Which I think is a fun nod. People really like the fact that I put the colors in there. It makes them look so funny though, seeing them in the original low color style. Oh. wait, hold on. I gotta do it this way. Oh, I messed up. Hold on. Ah! I didn't get the super. There we go. So, I put a lot of work into it. It doesn't look like much because it's just like 3 characters, but the netcode just takes forever, man. It takes forever to do this stuff. It's crazy. There. Blue Terry. Whatever. Putting in all the stages, too. We do a lot of work with the stages. The stages never had any layering in the old games. So if we do use stage art from one of the games, you notice like the background layer has parallax and stuff. I have to do all that. It never came like that to begin with. Oh. It's fun. I like it. Of course I like it. I made it. But yeah, check it out. Not everything you see on stream is represented in the previous public version, so if you do see something different, then know that that's part of the next coming update. Like, Terry's very different now than he used to be. He's almost going to be like a new character once you get your hands on him, even though he's out in the public build already. But Terry's got so much new stuff. Got new moves. I animated a new kick for him, a new punch. I actually did those animations. I did them on stream, actually. That was a while back, though. So yeah, this move here. This is new. He never had that in the Pocket games. And this one. So I made those too. I liked his close punch. I think it works better than the straight punch. His crouching punch here used to be basically the same thing as the standing one, and I thought that was kind of redundant, so wanted to make him a little different, operate a little different. Especially for advanced players, they'll have more tools to work with. Terry's a lot of fun. Terry's got lots of stuff. Oh. Oof, get him. I like the combo system. It's not too crazy. It's not as crazy as King of Fighters, but it's a bit more crazy than Street Fighter. And that was really the goal of this game. I wanted to find sort of a middle ground between them. And see what I could do with that. Oop. Ah. I'm getting beat by my own dumb AI. Now I have the wake up option here, so I can test, you know, how safe a move is or whatever is a development tool. I keep those in the release, so people can use them in the actual training mode in release, but they're mostly just a dev tool. I gotta make a recording so you can record in input and then play it back and stuff. That'll be helpful. It'll be helpful to me as a developer too, but I like this stage. It's actually the newest stage we added, I think. Put a lot of work into this stage. Get the water flowing right, the parallax looking right. And then the guy in the window here. This is the window guy. I want to make him walk to the window and walk back and forth and stuff. I think it would be really cool. Because he does that. This stage comes from King of Fighters 98. I think it would be really cool to have him walk to the window and do specific stuff. Actually, the stage that we added most of that in was the Neo Geo land. I'd like to add a crowd of people in here, but we did some interesting stuff in this stage. So see the light here, the walkway light? Look at that when I knock him down. See how it like blinks when he falls down? So we put that in. And then also over here, I'm gonna remove the input view. See the vending machine over here in the corner? Sometimes there's a random chance that a soda can will pop out when there's a knockdown near. I think it's a 1 in 6 chance. Something like that. But every time it blinks, that's when it has a chance to let one out. Oh, the RNG is not in my favorite today. Oh no, it's not going. Maybe it's oh, there's one. I was gonna say, yeah, soda can popped out. There's another one. We got 2 in a row. How about that? They changed colors too. I guess the RNG. There we go. There's a pink one. RNG said it was yellow only. So we're trying to add little neat things like that in the background. I figured it'd be cool if things happen when you get knocked down. So that's a good example of that. And another one here. Notice now, after all those knockdowns, this light is permanently knocked out. It'll flicker when you knock them down, but after a random set of knockdowns, this will turn off where it used to be lit up like the other ones. So that's the kind of detail I want to add into this game. I want it to feel like one of those old Capcom arcade games, where they just went way above and beyond. So that's the kind of stuff we're doing. I think this is the only stage that has like really advanced like reading of the match and checking when people are knocked down and things like that. So see, I did the reset here and now it's back. That's how I test them. So I can reset them back to normal. I think it's 26 knockdowns. Now it's a 3v3 game like King of Fighters, right? So you'll definitely see it by the end of a match if it goes on to all the rounds. Oh, here. And let's tell him not to block anymore. Makes it a little easier. There it is, and now it's gone. Now it's out. I think little things like that will be really cool. Let's see, what other levels? Oh, we got destructible terrain. Well, sort of, like background objects. So in Ryu's stage, you see you got the signs, just like in Street Fighter 2. And they'll break when you kick someone through them. I think those are cool. Bonk, like that. And they reset when you do the reset. That's how I test them. That's really just for me. I know it's kind of cool that people can do it in the release build, but that one's really just for me. So I can reset them and test them all over again without having to restart the match. There's the oh yeah, some of the viewers have described the double sign break challenge, where you have to try to break both the signs with one combo, like that. So there you go. You can try that out too in the current build. All that stuff's in the current build out on Game Jolt. See if you two can break both signs. Oh, that one didn't work. Oh, you know why? There's a glitch in this particular dev build that sometimes the max cancel doesn't work on attack. I've already fixed that in the current version, but this is an older build we're looking at because the current version's broken right now. So, and that's pretty much it. If there's any questions, I'm happy to field them. Just really waiting to get that GGPO done. I work on it every day, but it's a mountain of work, man. It's a lot of work. We've been doing it for quite a long time. Well, I've been doing it. I keep saying we, but I think like we as a team, but I'm really the only programmer. I don't mind saying we. I say it all the time, but I mean, truth is, I am the only programmer. So I've taken on all that duty. That's a fun one. That's a fun combo. Oh, I messed that one up. Boom, 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 boom. Yeah, again, check the link in chat and follow the game if you want there, and you'll definitely get the notification for when the online's ready. I'm definitely ready to test that as soon as it's good. Oh, not quite a kill, but that works. They're gonna be fun. Be real fun to play. So that's kind of the idea. You check it out. There's full move lists in the training mode, so you'll know everything that you can do for sure. And then give you a head start, get used to it. But man, this new version feels like a whole new game though too. So it reduced the input lag. It's gonna have the online, refined all the characters, tweak the animations. It's a big, when it hits, it's gonna be a big update. It is not just a netplay update. It's all the changes that we've been making in the meantime. All Terry's new moves. Well, Ryu's got new stuff too. I gave him Kaku Fubatsu from Street Fighter V. So you can do that attack as long as you have it charged up. You can do that attack off your specials, just like Street Fighter V. Let's see. See, like that. Now you have to. I have the training mode already set, so that it already has it. Let's see. What attack are you doing? That one? Okay. So it's double down back punch. It takes 2 bars of super, and then you have right here. This icon indicates that you have Kaku Fubatsu stocked up. And then from there, you can do a couple things. You can do a parry, and then do all your fun stuff there, or you can use it after a special attack. So for a parry, you press down, back, and 2 punches. This is different in the public build. There is the parry in the public build, and it's a little bit different, so check the move list on that one. But in the current one, you can do the parry, and that one's not new, but using it like this is new. So you can do a special cancel after it as well, and you can do an extra special move. So this one is called Ishin. That punch is called Ishin, and this one's called Teshin. And they're basically ideas merged between Street Fighter 4's Omega Mode and Street Fighter V. Street Fighter 4 had Ishin and Teshin, and Street Fighter V only has Ishin. So you can use it to continue doing other attacks and stuff. So it can really add to your combo potential for Ryu. But you do have to spend those 2 bars. So don't forget that. You have to plan ahead for it. So if the match starts and you just go right into it, and you can save that for the whole round. It won't expire until the round is over. And then you wait, and when you get your big hit, you know, you're like, oh, I got him. And then you can go nuts with all your abilities. So it's kind of like Ryu has to prepare a lot of his stuff. He needs a lot of meter to do the big fancy stuff. But once he's got it, boy, oh, he's got it. And he can do big damage. But typically in like situations that are punishes and like counter hits, he does lots of big damage. But he needs meter to do it. So Ryu's kind of like you build up your power and you wait for the right moment to make your move. And that's when you get him. So you do something like this. And they did something. Oof. Oh, it's gonna hurt. Oh, it's gonna hurt bad. Remember, counter hit gives you additional damage. And you see that little spark? A little shine whenever there's a counter hit. So right there, where it flashes white, That's a counter hit. So you know if you got it or not. Oh. Well, when two attacks collide, you get a different spark. You get that one. That's cool too, but that's not going to get you what you want. So if you counter hit a Shin Shoryuken, oof! Oh, the damage is massive. It's over half their health. It's crazy. It's crazy. And that's where Ryu is very good with counter hit. Shin Shoryuken has very high counter hit damage. And a lot of Ryu's strikes are one hit, which inherently makes him good for counter hits. Where Ken's like Shoryuken has 3 hits, and the damage is divided in 3 when you do that. But that's not true for Ryu. It's all one big hit. There's an attack information feature in training mode. That 132 is the amount of damage from a from that counter hit. It's 132. But if you do it normally, it's only 110. So you see how that works. It's like a 20% damage increase. So here, oh, not that one. Normally, Shin Shoryuken does 460 damage. But on counter hit, it's 496. So it's a big difference. And then Power Max makes it even more powerful on top. So without a counter hit and Power Max, you get 552. But a counter hit and Power Max? Oof. Oof. 589. Yeah, they're not gonna be happy about that. So, and a counter hit only happens when you interrupt the attack of another person. So before that kick comes out all the way, that's where the counter hit works. So it's kind of like you stunned them. Gives you all sorts of advantages. Ryu is definitely a done goof character. You done goofed, Ryu is gonna take advantage of that. Because he can store all that power and just wait for a mistake. Like the parry. It can stop almost any attack. And, yeah. Whoops. Uh-oh. Oh, most of your life is gone. Sorry about that. But you gotta build up all that power throughout the match. You don't start with like a full bar super, you know what I mean? Oh, that'll get him. No, that didn't hit quite right. I thought it was low enough. You can hit him low enough, you can, if you time it right, you can hit him low enough that it'll hit. Yeah, there it is, like that. Oof. Oh, it's massive. Or just go for this one. It still does a lot. Do all sorts of cool stuff. That's not gonna hit. No. It's too low. I could... Well... Let's see. Nah, it's not gonna hit, right? You get some damage off of it in the air, but it's not quite the same. Cool. Uh-oh, I didn't combo that right. You saw that counter hit in the middle of the combo. That means he was free to do something. Oh, that'll get it. Yeah. Like I said, you can really let loose with Ryu. If you have full resources, oh boy. You can really let loose with him. Oh, that's not to mention all the Denjin Hadokens he can use in Power Max mode. So he can charge up. And you can also cancel them too. If you backdash while you're charging, can fake him out. They think, oh, he's gonna throw it. Like, no, I'm not. And then they might do something stupid, and then you can really get them. That's where the design of Ryu is primarily the other player making mistakes and you capitalizing on it. That single design theme permeates every decision I make with how Ryu's character works in this game. They think you're gonna do it, but then you backdash, right? And there's the mistake, and that's it. And now you're ready to get them. That's the idea. Oh, I did it too late. Oh, you recovered too early. Oh, I messed it up. Hold on. Let's do it again. Boom. And there it is. I've stored up all my power. And look at that. Look at the damage. That's Ryu's core design theme in this game. Making you make a mistake. Play solid and wait till they make a mistake. When they make a mistake, that's when you unleash everything you have. And make them hurt, man. I think that's really Ryu's core message as a character in other games, especially like Third Strike and stuff. He got big damage. Don't screw with him. If he's got lots of resources, he's gonna unleash them on you. But when Ryu starts out and he doesn't have any meter, you know, say I don't have any meter here, I use it all. I mean, he's got basic stuff. He can do some things. It's nothing too spectacular. But it's once he gets that bar and meter, oh, then now it's go time. So he can do a Tatsu in the corner here. Gives you an extra hit. Or if you haven't used your power max yet, you could do two of them. Oof! Yeah, shit like that. That's the kind of stuff I want Ryu to be capable of. So I think he's a really good character. Ken's more of like a combo character. He's pretty good without meter. He doesn't really need a lot of meter to get started, but he can do some pretty good stuff when he has it. So like this combo, this says there's no meter in that. That's pretty good damage, not bad. 297 meterless. You know, not too bad. His whole thing is getting you to the corner, so a lot of moves will push you back and let him come back in on you. Or he travels with you. It's all about getting you in that corner, because once you're in the corner, he can really do some nasty things to you. He's got his special kicks from Street Fighter 2 and CVS 2. He can use all of those, and he can use them in combos. So Ken is pretty much the combo master here. I mean, everybody's got pretty neat combos, but his real core philosophy is having a lot of neat ground-based combos, not having to use a lot of meter to do them, and to get you to the corner quickly. Because his Power Max mode is enhancing all his special kicks, and it makes his overhead a lot better. So this little kick, can't defend that while crouching. If I tell Ryu to guard everything, see, he gotta stand up. Otherwise, he's gonna get hit. And that's no good. You do not want that to happen. So here's the difference here. This, if you try to attack him and he blocks it, you're gonna get a counter attack on you. But in Power Max, no sir, he does not. It is safe to use. And that makes it very powerful. and he can use it directly after any one of these kicks. So here, if I show it like this, if you hold the button after doing one of these special kicks, then he'll attempt to attack with that overhead after it. See? Like that. Oh, that one actually hit him. Let's see. I gotta make sure this one doesn't hit him. Let me get him in the corner here. There, like that. Problem is, of course, he can always punish you after such an attempt. So you want to be very careful. Unless you're in power max mode, in which case he can just, he's got full ability to go ham on it. Yeah, so you can get overwhelmed pretty quickly if you're not careful. He's got lots of cool attacks. He's got lots of cool combos too. And special things that only Ken can do. Like that. I don't think it'll reach from that far. But it will from there. And all the animations look really cool. I had to do these ones. Well, not that one. That one was in the game. But this one wasn't. I had to construct that one. And then I had to turn Ryu's kick into Ken's kick for this one. So there's a lot of thought, a lot of work that goes into all these characters. And then to program them just right, and takes a while. Takes about 3 months to put a character in start to finish. And that's at their, you know, everything's in, and then you gotta test it and see how it works out. So I would say probably between 4 and 5 months to complete a character. Get them all ready and programmed, animated, all that shit. So typically what I do, I put in requests to some of the pixel artists that help me with the animations, or sometimes I'll do them on stream too. And I'll say, here's the animations that we don't have that I'm going to need. And then while they're working on that, I start programming the basic stuff, you know, the walking, the running, the jumping, the basic attacks, you know, whatever we've got on hand. And then when they've got their stuff done, then I add that in. And that's kind of how we divvy up the time, right? So it works out pretty well. But it just takes so long to animate every character. There's hundreds of animations because you don't think about it, but you know, okay, you got your walking, you got your crouching. There's 4 attack buttons here, 4 attack buttons here. When you miss a grab, that's another one. Every time you get knocked down, every kind of reaction, hit in the air, when you get hit and spin. You know, attacks from below have a different hit than attacks from top. Things like that. Attacks from overhead also have a different animation. Taking an uppercut has a different animation than the others. There's a lot of different stuff. That hit reaction, getting knocked back like that. Everything's just got so much animation detail to it. People don't realize how much is really involved with it. Every kind of grab, the character's got to be animated, and the way the grab needs to be animated. It's crazy. There's so much stuff, and that's why it takes so long to do them. In fact, it takes a long time just to do all the getting hit animations. It takes a long time to get through that. That's the most boring part, is them getting hit and stuff. But I like to do it early on because you really do need all those animations so that you can test a character getting beat on and make sure that they all work right. So it's pretty crazy, right? But in the end, man, it all looks cool and it all works. And, you know, another thing people don't realize is, look when Ken's running, a little dust kick up. When he backdashes, there's a little dust there. Or when Ryu hits the ground, there's that little dust shockwave. All those little effects. And like when the motion blur trail there, the little sprite trail happens. When you backdash, when you do an EX move, all the flashing, all of those are built into the animation system. So when I say animating is the biggest part, the biggest time-consuming part of the character, it's that. All the fire effects, they're all part of the animation system. They're all special effects that are not, you know, you have to combine the character and the sprites together. So like, all the characters, they don't have the effects on them. So like when Ryu charges his dungeon, like I've got to take these sprites and make those flicker, and then the electricity coming from his hands are all different effects that all work together. And all that's combined through the animation system in various ways. So it's quite the work. And then all the hitboxes have to be for every animation, and they're all specific to whatever pose is currently going on. And that also has gameplay implications, and yeah, it's getting all the animation data together, that's the biggest part, for sure. So all the game balance kind of hinges on that too. Where the attack boxes are. Here, it's a little easier to see it like this. Not that one, this one. All the attack boxes, the red ones are for attacks. The green ones are where you can get hit. The purple one's actually just so the characters can't walk into each other, which is also very important. That's all that one's about. People ask about that one all the time. But it's really funny when you see it with the boxes like this. You see how much math plays a part of the game. Every character is just basically, on the inside, they're just a collection of collision boxes walking around the screen. It's kind of funny. Oh, not that. It's just really funny to see it like that. It's kind of just like the math side of the game. Arguably the most boring side of the game. But this is available in the builds you guys play as too, so that you can see all the hitboxes, how they're designed. A lot of people like to see that kind of stuff, so I figure might as well keep it in the game. It's fun though. I like working on this game. This is definitely like a dream project for me to be able to do this kind of thing. So, and we'll look at Terry again. Terry's philosophy is less clear to me, but I think I've come away with a good idea that Terry can kind of harass you at mid-range here and get away with it. Do crack shoots, you know, kind of like, well, there's a glitch where he stands in the air, but we fixed that already in the latest build. So he can be at this kind of distance and just kind of like play around with you, mess around with you, that kind of stuff. And then if he gets in, it's bad news. Bad news bears for real. Because Terry's got some crazy stuff he can do. Let me take his boxes off here. Let's see. Hold on. Oh, that one's not gonna hit. Hold on. I gotta... Oh, that's not what I want. Ah! Come on. There. Oh no, I messed it up. No, what am I doing wrong? I think there's something wrong with my controller. It's been acting up since yesterday. Here, you know what? Hold on, let's switch it. Is this one charged? Nope, that one's dead as shit. Here, we'll use the arcade stick. Button check. Okay, good. Oh yeah, it was definitely that controller. Okay. Let's see, we can do... Oh, that's not what I want. And do stuff like that. Parry's got lots of cool stuff. You can do stuff like that. How did I want to do this? Yeah, I think I wanted to do like that, right? Yeah. Let's try that. Oh, I didn't do it close enough. Oh, I screwed that up. Hold on. Oh, I didn't get it in time. There we go. I fell out of it. I already fixed that glitch. I fixed that one on stream, actually. So, yeah, lots of cool stuff. We're getting there. We're gonna have Iori, Chun-Li, Guile, Mai from Fatal Fury and King of Fighters, Kyo. We'll see how that goes. Then we'll have to add a boss character, put in arcade. Sorry, stretching. Oh, I got a yawn in me. It's pretty late here, so I'm gonna have to go, but it's coming along. Alright, one more time, here's the link to the game. Here's the link if you want to support me and what I do. And that's pretty much it. And we are here on Thursday. I have a kind of Metroidvania platformer retro game that I work on too. So if that sounds interesting, come back on Thursday. On Sunday, I actually just play a game. And I'm not sure what we're going to play this week. But it'll probably be a spooky game because, well, the end of September and the beginning of October is here, so... Oh, you know what? No, we're playing Melty Blood. We're playing Melty Blood. And that's kind of a spooky game. It's got vampires in it, right? Fighting game. It's a fighting game. But it's got vampires. It counts. We're good. Because the new Melty Blood's coming out this week. Brand new game. It's got rollback netcode. It's good. So we're going to check that out. And I'm excited to see how that one comes off. Oh, you know what? Thursday we're playing that too this week. Only because it's this Thursday. Okay, if you want to see the you want to see the platform game? Here, I'll show you a little preview of it. You'll have to come back next Thursday though, because we're going to be playing Melty Blood on Thursday. Just because Tim and I are very big Melty Blood fans. So here, the platform game. Platform game looks like this. It's like a Metroidvania kind of game here. Get you a little taste of it. Well, here's one of the mock-up levels, but you know what? Let me just go onto Twitter and show you what it looks like, because we had a whole little video there. Or is it on the YouTube? Let me see. Is that the YouTube channel? I think it is. We are also on YouTube at Game Dev Scripts. All the VODs are stored there permanently, so if you want to see that, then oh, here it is. Yeah, here we go. That's what the platform game's looking like. It's still very early days. Still got a lot of polish and a lot of programming left to do, but this was the general idea for that. So if that sounds good, come on Thursdays. Just to be aware, this specific Thursday is going to be a gameplay day, just because we've been waiting for that Melty Blood game to drop for a long time. But normally Thursdays with this game. So it's always a good time. Tim's with me most of the time on that, so it's like a kind of like a partner stream. Me and Tim do stuff. Tim does a lot more pixel art, I do a lot more programming, so we combine our powers and together we have a good stream. So this is kind of stuff for that. Still got a long way to go in this one though too. But hey, this is an original game, so we can actually like put this one on Steam when we're done. I'll be excited to do that. I haven't done a commercial game project in quite a while, so we'll have to see about doing. We'll have to see about how that all works. I know some guys that have put stuff on Steam, so I'll have to pull in a few favors and make a few phone calls and be like, yeah, so how'd you do that again? I need to get my game on there, man. So, it's good though, good times. Very excited for this one. So this one I work on with Tim, and I work on with Coy Campbell, and Coy does the monster designs. So like kids trapped in a haunted house kind of thing. And then I translate those to pixel art. And Tim does some pixel art too, and he does some programming to help. Tim's on point for the backgrounds though. He's the one doing most of the background work. I'm terrible at background work. I did the characters instead. Right here. Like this little guy. Coy designed the monster, and I made it into pixel art. And I made the characters. So that's an older version of it. Here, that's what they look like. So these are the characters. These are the ones primarily that I've done. That's cool. I did the walking animation, the jumping, all that kind of stuff. Oh yeah. We were entertaining the idea of maybe alternate costumes, because it's a horror themed game. Like what if you could have like Halloween costume alternate costumes to put on. I don't know if we'll ever get to that, but it was fun to doodle at least. And then the idea of having a snorkel item that you could go underwater with, things like that. So it'll be fun. I like it, but of course that's not related to Pocket Fighter EX. That's our own special project, but that's pretty much it. So if that's your if you want to see that kind of stuff, then do that. Follow me on Twitter at MarkDWiz. I always post little update videos all the time. We've got a Discord here. Discord. There's the link in chat. And if you want to bug me throughout the week, that's the place to go. And then that's pretty much it. So I want to thank everybody for hanging out with me today. And my thing broke. There we go. There's the schedule again. So we'll be back Monday with more Pocket Fighter EX. Next Thursday with the Mansion game, and then Sunday we'll be playing Multi-Blood. So it's good times. So thanks everybody for hanging out, sticking to the end. If you're on YouTube, if you could do me a favor, hit that like button. And if you really like it, then you can hit that subscribe button. That would help me. And don't forget the little bell! Look, YouTube's got a forgetful memory, so if you don't hit that bell, sometimes YouTube, he forgets to give you that video. He forgets that you're subscribed. It happens. But that little bell helps him remember. So how about that? That's pretty much it. So, thank everybody again for hanging out. I'll see you guys next time. So have a good one, and scrub out.